You look bad.
All right. Welcome to college football week 7. Man, we got a huge week this week. So many big games this week, and we are ready to go over them and give our predictions. We got Derek here, as always, our college football guru on our podcast. And he is 65, 39, and 2 right now. That is still what, a 62% win percentage, right, D?
Yep, right around that number.
Man, dude. If you guys are not listening to him, I don't know what to say because he's going to win you some money. So, but let's get right into it. Week 7. Derek, let me get your picks.
All right, man. I mean, third Saturday in October, which means that we're obviously going to be talking Bama, Tennessee, out in Knoxville. I'm going to have a start though on some of maybe the lesser or the earlier games. So we're going to try and take it from a chronological standpoint. First, it's going to be the big noon kickoff coming out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, where Penn State and the Nittany Lions, number 10 in the country, go at Michigan at number 5. You know, Jim Harbaugh has struggled in these big games. He was 0 for in the win column against top 10 opponents dating into last year before finally getting over that hump over with the win over Ohio State. You know, everyone this week that I've been able to find that's previewing this game is making a big deal about the ground game, and rightfully so. Penn State's got a top 5 ranked run defense. They're going to match up against Blake Corum. He's got, I believe, somewhere around 800 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns on 115 carries this year. That Wolverines run game is, I believe, 11th in the country. But I actually think the QB play is going to dictate the winner of this one. Sean Clifford, as much as I dog him for not being very good, he tends to live for these big games and show up in these big games. I think back to the game against Auburn. I think back to the games against Iowa last year and some of the other ones when he was even younger. It's just he tends to be able to extend and create those kind of crazy plays that actually change the outcome of a game. He almost goes magician mode back there. And so if the Nittany Lions are going to be able to pull off the upset, I expect us to take a look at what Sean Clifford's able to do in the passing game, maybe a little bit more so than what they're going to be able to do in the run game. And then on the opposite side for the Wolverines, we've got young J.J. McCarthy. You know, the question is, can he continue this unbeaten season for the Wolverines? He's looked dangerous on the edge, especially when they get him in the RPO, and his legs may be the difference to try and freeze those edges as they crash down on the run game. So, that might be the difference for the Wolverines on Saturday. But because this is a Big Ten conference game, and unlike the SEC where the slogan is "It just means more," the Big Ten should rebrand to where we just punt more. So I like the under 49.5 in this one. I think both defenses come to play. We got an early kick, obviously top 10 matchup. Possessions are going to be at a premium. Tend to feel like teams are going to be a little bit more conservative with the play calling early, especially in the first half. So I like under 49.5 in this one if there's still some 49.5s out there. So that's my take on the Penn State Michigan. And I saw we had a comment roll through. You want to touch on that?
Uh, yeah, we got Jordan actually with the comment here. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the comment?
What do you say? Where's the fro?
Yeah.
Lol.
Yeah, dude, he wants that fro, man.
I know. Hey, I could have picked it out for you. Maybe if we maybe we hit a big parlay, I'll pick it out for you, Jordan. We can throw the comb in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the comment was from yeah, it was from last week. It popped up on
Okay,
the screen, yeah, but it was from last week.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, next up in the early morning going, we have the Okie State Cowboys visiting TCU. TCU fresh off of the road win on game day at Kansas last week. TCU is a favorite by 4 points in this one, a total sitting at 68.5. If you've been able to catch any of our previous segments, you'll know what huge fans we are of Sonny Dykes coming from SMU to TCU. And this is not to disrespect him in any way, shape, or form, but Sonny Dykes teams have had some bad luck. Specifically, they kind of been cursed by the letdown after big wins. I think that's why it kind of shocked some people that despite the big win over Oklahoma, they were still able to get up for game day last week and really fight out a big, tough road win over Kansas. Although we like that, obviously, because we had TCU and Sonny Dykes in that spot. But Gundy here, the Pokes are a remarkable 16-3 outright as a dog of less than 4 points under Mike Gundy, including 12-3 on the road. We backed Gundy in a similar spot 2 weeks ago at Baylor, where they were catching 3.5. I have a feeling that I'm going to want to be on the exact same side this weekend. I love the speed that both teams play with, and I'm pumped to watch this game. It should be a track meet with that total up around the 69 number. It probably comes down to whoever has the ball last between Max Duggan and Spencer Sanders. But I'll take the points at opening kickoff. Give me Gundy. I'm going to ride that Okie State Pokes fandom once again. Give me Gundy, Oklahoma State +4. And I actually like them to come out with the win in Fort Worth outright.
Nice, dude. Yeah, dude. And, I was talking to you about this. I was like, okay, Oklahoma State or TCU. And I think I got Oklahoma State as well. Dude, Oklahoma State.
It's tough to win on the road in college football, Boone. It really is. And so I understand why TCU is favored. But, this would be Oklahoma into college game day, into welcoming in a top 10 opponent. I think sometimes you just run out of gas, specifically at the college level. So that's another reason why I think I'm leaning Oklahoma State here.
Yeah, man. And, Spencer Sanders is, he's playing pretty well right now too. And I think he's playing well enough to be able to win on the road too as well. So
I think they just had Spencer Sanders on. I saw him, not Spencer Sanders, but Mike Gundy on, I believe, ESPN talking about Spencer Sanders, and he was saying because of the extra year of eligibility that the COVID year allowed, he's never seen a quarterback master this system the way that Spencer Sanders has, and because he tends to think that his offensive scheme is super easy for any of the other positions to learn. The only one that's extremely difficult is the quarterback. And the one thing that's impressed him most on tape this season about Spencer Sanders is that wherever the right read has been, he's taken it every time. There have been no mistakes whatsoever in Gundy's eyes of where he was trying to go with the football. And I think obviously when you have a mature quarterback like that has a masterful sense of your offensive scheme, it's going to put you in a great position to win. I also saw that they are undefeated. Oklahoma State is undefeated when Spencer Sanders turns the ball over one or less times, which is a crazy stat.
Yeah.
That you can give the ball away once, but still come away with a win 100% of the time. So,
yeah.
So we'll see if he's able to keep this train rolling.
Yeah, man. And dude, he's just such a dual threat, a quarterback, dude. And I'm not sure if the TCU defense is gonna be up to the task, man. So we'll see. I don't think TCU is gonna be able to stop Spencer just because he's just so good.
The worry is what Max Duggan can do on the other side because TCU has looked unstoppable offensively as well. So.
Yeah, he has. And Max Duggan is another great athlete, and he's also a dual threat quarterback as well. But I don't know, man. We'll see, dude. Spencer's just it's tough to stop a guy like him.
But that brings us into what will be probably around the noon 30 Pacific time kicks or 3:30 on the East Coast, where we get let's see. Yeah, I can't speak on that. Here we go. So we got Alabama at Tennessee. Like I said, third Saturday in October. This one is circled on every single calendar inside of Knoxville. They play each other on this day every single year, dating back, I want to say, for at least 50 years now. It's always been on this week that they play. And I'll be honest, Boone, shoulder injury be damned to Bryce Young. Tennessee hasn't beaten Alabama since before Instagram was founded. 15 consecutive L's on the third Saturday in October. Everyone and their mother, yourself included, are on the Vols plus the points. Huh? Once Alabama came down to a touchdown favorite, I couldn't help but snag that ticket. Line is now sitting around 8. I still like Alabama at that number in this spot. And listen, we've seen Tennessee, I think, already at their best. They get the opening kick turnover on LSU last week. They put up 40 on offense, hold LSU to a measly one offensive score. I think we've seen their A game already. we've still yet to see anything better than a C or C plus game out of Nick Saban in the Tide. I think the upside of what might happen Saturday and what we can look at has historically happened for Tennessee in this spot, where I believe they've lost this matchup over those last 15 years by an average of 31 points. I think the upside is just too great to not look at the Crimson Tide here to win by more than 2 touchdowns. Eventually Cinderella has to leave the ball. Clock eventually strikes midnight. I think midnight strikes at noon Pacific time in Knoxville for the Knoxville faithful tomorrow afternoon. It's not 1999 anymore. We're not going to party like it's 99. I think the Tide come in on a mission and they really dash all the hopes that Hendon Hooker and the Vols have had so far this season. So, and then I saw the comment fly onto the screen here asking about my personal experience at game day in Knoxville. And let me tell you, it is awesome. From the cookout on Friday, that's going to be happening tonight, to the parade through town and through campus tomorrow. It's going to feel like there's 500,000 people on campus. And then there's going to feel like all 500,000 people that were on campus at the parade are packed inside of Neyland Stadium. It's going to be rowdy. They are going to be singing Rocky Top. It's going to be the checkered orange and white in the end zones is going to look absolutely beautiful on your televisions. It's quite a scene and quite something to behold. They're going to paint that rock for College game day. It's going to be electric, and I love the atmosphere. But like I said, I mean, this atmosphere is why kids come to Alabama as well. They want to play on this national stage, and I don't think they're going to be intimidated by the road game and in the road fair here. And like I said, I think Nick Saban has just yet to even put together the full game plan yet, and we may see it now. They finally have been able to get that run game going with the dynamic duo, with obviously future fantasy football top 50 pick Jahmyr Gibbs in that backfield and what he can do from a dual threat standpoint. I think as long as Bryce Young is able to keep them on schedule, I have a feeling we're going to see Will Anderson and the rest of that defensive front really slow down Hendon Hooker with their pass rush. And I have a feeling Alabama's going to jump out to a lead early and then just build on it as the game goes on.
Quick question, Deke.
Yep.
Does Hendon Hooker throw his first interception this week?
I mean, he's gonna be put under some pressure here, right? Both in terms of the game environment as well as obviously the opponent. So I would lean yes. We're gonna see our first Hendon Hooker turnover of the season this Saturday. Especially considering I like Alabama here to cover the 7, cover the 8, whatever you find it at. So yeah, give me Alabama to win in the turnover margin department as well as win on the scoreboard.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for that because I've never seen a college quarterback play in this division and not throw an interception. It's crazy. Like Trey Lance, he didn't throw an interception, but he was in a whole different league. So
it's in a different subdivision of college football.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, what Hendon Hooker is doing is crazy. But I agree with you. I think he's going to throw his first interception this week, for sure.
Yeah. But like I said, I know that you definitely would lean Tennessee in the points, and I get it. I mean, they're at home. This is a big spot for the Knoxville fan base, big spot for college football. Or obviously, we got a top 10 matchup with Bama on the road. That's always exciting. So we'll see. We'll see what's able to happen. All right. And then last but not least, in terms of the Big Four that we've got showing up on the board there, we've got the USC Trojans, the Lincoln Riley Trojans going at Utah to visit Whittingham and those Utes. And, sometimes the best thing you can have on your calendar after a loss, where you didn't play your best, is a massive national TV showdown against your biggest rival, at least as far as the Pac-12 title goes. And that's exactly what Utah has in store for them this week. Obviously, they go to the Rose Bowl last week, and they fall short against UCLA. I think USC is almost an age-old adage, a dog with fleas here. They're a top 10 team, catching more than a field goal, yet they're undefeated. It doesn't make any sense from a football fan standpoint of going, why are they the underdog in this spot? And yet, oftentimes, Vegas knows what they're doing when they put this line up. And right now, they have Utah favored by 3.5. An underdog that makes no sense until someone in the country can prove that they can beat them. I have a hard time getting on the Utah side just because I don't think we've seen anybody beat Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley in the regular season by more than 3.5 by more than a field goal. So, I can't quite find the cojones to get on that side. But looking at the total in this game, I think it's sitting around 50 or sitting around 65. I mean, that's a track meet that they're expecting out in Utah, and so that to me lends itself to the fact that they think that USC is going to be able to score here on the road. And so if Caleb Williams is going to be able to score and he's on the road, I don't know. Like I said, it's a hard for me to take the dog with fleas here, but I think I'm going to have to lean USC plus 3.5. But if you made me take on the money line, I think I would have to pick Utah. So, I think USC is going to keep it close. I think if I had to pick one outcome for the game, it would be Utah by a field goal late. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there as far as that game goes.
Man, Deke saying Cameron Rising is the truth.
Dude, I mean, they've been a different breed of football team at Bryce Eccles at night. So I see the reason why the line is in the spot that it is. USC also has not been great on the road so far this season. They beat a very underperforming Stanford team by 13 down at the Farm back in week 2, and then they obviously get the Saturday night win over Oregon State 17-14. So they come away with a 3-point road win. They haven't looked all that impressive, honestly, when they've gotten out of Southern California. So I get the hesitation, but I don't know. Something about this spot smells like it's going to be tricky. Also, listening to the Stanford Steve and the Bear Pod where they had John Murray on from the Supergate or the Westgate out in Vegas, rather. This game has gone very overlooked from a betting ticket standpoint, as in not a lot. They haven't taken a lot of action on either side in this game. They kind of just threw up a number at the beginning of the week, and it's just stuck. They haven't really had any sharp money one way or the other. So because of that, that's another reason to maybe think about taking USC, as they're not exactly as much of a public underdog as you would have expected them to be in this spot. Maybe being overshadowed a little bit by Tennessee and some of these other teams. So,
dude. Also, Deke, Caleb Williams, quarterback for the USC Trojans, right? I got his name right?
Yep.
Do you test that standout corner over there who shares the same name as him, pretty much?
Yeah, it would be interesting because I saw that Jordan Addison's dealing with a lower body extremity injury.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he's able to give it. I think I saw he's questionable, probably on the right side of questionable, based off the injury reports today. So if he's able to give it a go, that's going to be a fascinating matchup for NFL scouts. With Caleb Williams over there for Utah against Jordan Addison, and then obviously Caleb Williams delivering the ball from the pocket on USC. So it'll be interesting to watch that matchup as it's probably featuring 3 future pros. So big one for the scouts. Big one for the scouts out in Utah, out in Salt Lake.
Yeah, his name's Clark Phillips.
Or Clark Phillips, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that dude is the truth at cornerback, dude. Looks really good. But oh man, we'll see, dude. If I was Caleb Williams, I'm not sure if I would even look over to that side.
And then another super interesting game that I wanted to at least discuss here today, Boone, is Clemson going at Florida State. This is a preemptive rivalry that's been on all of our radars for the last probably 10 years now. That game opened at -7.5. It came all the way down to -3.5. Now it's back up to -4.5 for Clemson. As we stand here on Friday evening. Future top 10 pick, D tackle Brian Breesy. We've talked about him on the pod before. He's questionable for Saturday. And so that caught my eye. But, what is this number that the books are putting out from Vegas here? This is a Seminole team that choked away a W last week in Raleigh. They're only catching 3 and a hook as of yesterday. Now it's up to 4 and a hook. This line smells all kinds of fishy. The Fighting Dabos were on upset alert last time they left Death Valley and they went to play Wake Forest in Winston-Salem. FSU has a vertical passing game. Wake Forest had a vertical passing game. I can see the similarities there in terms of teams willing to take and stretch the field. This might be a scary, scary spot down in Doak Campbell for the Tigers tomorrow because we got a night game, premium possessions, once again, rivalry type setup. Both teams feature, I think, enough athleticism on the front seven to get after the quarterback. I like the under 51 in this game if you want to play it. But I'm also not willing to lay anywhere near that 4.5 for Clemson. So scary if you want to take that short road favorite there.
I am not betting against DJ Ukulele and Will Shipley. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Hey, they've definitely looked a lot better over these last 2 weeks than they did early on in the season, and so we'll see if they can carry that now on the road away from Death Valley.
Dude, that run game is. You better buckle up if you're Florida State.
Yep.
You got to stop that run game, man.
Yeah, and I mentioned last week in the discussions with Swan, it's hard. It gets harder and harder as the weeks go on in college football to find value and find lines that you like, just because the books start to get so sharp. So I've only got a few plays already out there this week, whereas a couple weeks ago I might have been giving you 12 to 15 plays tonight. The only ones I've got for Saturday are I've got Eastern Michigan in a pick that I grabbed yesterday. That line started to move. I think I saw it at 1.5 this afternoon, maybe 2 now. A lot of that hinges on the fact that quarterback Rocco Lombardi for Northern Illinois is doubtful. I don't know why the line took that long to move in Eastern Michigan's favor, considering he was doubtful since Sunday. So, but I like Eastern Michigan at home in a pick 'em. I like Buffalo minus the 17 at UMass. The Minutemen are awful. This is a local noon kick out on the East Coast in Massachusetts. Buffalo has outscored their 2 opponents by 50 points in noon kicks so far this season on the road. They're giving 17 here, but they really should be favored by nearly 4 touchdowns, I think, in this spot. So give me Buffalo minus 17. And then I've got an underdog for you, also a non-Power 5 here. I'm taking the Rice Owls plus the 4 points at Florida Atlantic. Here. The Rice Owls, after the game against USC, have actually been undefeated ATS wise so far this season. So I'm surprised to see them catching more than a field goal here. I would have rather seen this game if I was handicapping it closer to a pick 'em. So because of that, I feel like I'm getting 4 free points on the Rice Owls. And I also think that they just have a massive coaching advantage as well with the staff that they brought in there. And then from a total standpoint, obviously we've got a lot of Big Ten games this weekend in terms of Big Ten conference games. I like a lot of the unders in those spots, but those ones are going to be pretty popular, I think, for everybody just because of the way the Big Ten tends to punt the ball in the box scores. But another 2 teams that I don't think have any sort of offensive prowess is going to be that Cal at Colorado game. Listen, the Colorado Buffaloes are the last remaining Power 5 team to be 0 against the spread so far this season. Cal is giving them 15 points. That's a lot for a team who can't score. I can't quite back the Golden Bears to cover the 15, but I do like the under 48 in this spot. I think the first team to 20 wins, and so if I'm getting 48, to me that feels like too many. So give me the under 48 in the Cal at Colorado game. And then I was able to sprinkle just a little bit of action on tonight. Navy at SMU. I really liked SMU in this spot. I know Navy's been good as a dog so far this year, but this is a completely different style of offense, and Navy obviously defends in the practice when they face the triple option. So they were good earlier this season against the Air Force Academy, where they got to match up against a triple option offense. Here, obviously, a spread offense from SMU, I felt like was going to give them a lot of trouble. Before we jumped on the pod, I saw that SMU was up 13-0, I believe, already. So I'm hoping that they continue and can cover the 12.5 that I laid. And we can start off our Friday night with a green check mark.
Let's go, Deke. Man.
But yeah, anything in the comments from some of our viewers here tonight?
Yeah, we got a comment from Swan from earlier. So, He wanted to get 2 potential outright upsets. That's what Alex wanted.
Ooh, 2 potential outright upset. Well, number one, I gave you Okie State at TCU. They're a 4-point underdog. I like them a lot in this spot. And then maybe off the beaten path, let's go to the Sun Belt, Swan, and let's go find the Arkansas State Red Wolves at plus 140, visiting Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Southern Miss. Now, listen, Southern Miss has looked improved so far this year. They probably have the only thing that you Niner fans are going to know from a player personnel standpoint, and Frank Gore Jr. toting that rock for them. But the Arkansas State Red Wolves have a legitimate team this year, and I feel like they're going to give Southern Miss some fits, specifically offensively. So if the defense can hang in and slow down that Southern Miss kind of air raid style spread offense with Frank Gore Jr. toting the rock out of the shotgun, I have a feeling we're going to see upset city down there in Hattiesburg.
My man Frank Gore Jr. As a Niner fan, I cannot help but support that kid. So,
and then maybe the largest underdog that I would debate on taking this weekend would be the Duke Blue Devils at home against North Carolina and Mac Brown. North Carolina and Mac Brown, I mean, they can't stop anybody. We know that. But can anybody stop Drake May in that offense? I'm not sure. I think Drake May is still too cheap from a Heisman standpoint. I think he's still sitting around 60, 70 to 1. So, and he's just got absurd numbers. And so obviously if anybody from these top kind of teams doesn't put together a Heisman caliber stat season, if Drake May puts up 65 touchdowns with 800 yards rushing and nearly 5,000 yards passing, and North Carolina makes it to the ACC title game, I think it might be hard for people to overlook what Drake May's done in that spot. Although they kind of did the same to Kenny Pickett this last year for Pittsburgh, so maybe 70 to 1 is just throwing away your money. But yeah, anyways, the Duke Blue Devils, right? I mean, we know they can score. They've been able to hang around some tight games. They just came off the OT loss to Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. Now they come home. Talk about what I talked about earlier with Utah USC. Sometimes the best thing after a loss where you didn't play your best is when you get to welcome in a rival into your house. I think that's what Duke gets in this spot. So I think they're an interesting look on the money line. I think they're like plus 240. So definitely getting some heavy juice on that one.
Man, some good upset picks right there for Deke. Man, what a week we are having this week. But, Deke, is there anything else you wanted to chime in on before we end the pod for tonight?
If you have anything scheduled for Saturday, anything with the family, anything with the girlfriend, cancel it now. Just cancel it now. You're going to want to be in front of the television screen 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., sun up to sundown. This is week 7, college football. It does not get better than this. We've got 2 top 10 matchups to get you into a great night matchup out here on the West Coast with USC Utah. I think it's going to be great. And then, Poon, I mean, we've got a little bit of action potentially looming as well as your Arizona Wildcats come up to Seattle to face my Huskies. Huskies giving 14 after getting beat down at Arizona State last week. Feels like maybe too many points there, but didn't want to get into that one. But I think we're going to have a little beer bet for when we see each other here in November on that one.
Oh, you bet. You bet. We got a little beer bet going for sure, man. We'll see what happens. But if we can beat UW, man, all I gotta say is bear down.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Those are our Week 7 college football game picks. Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe for more college football content, for more football content. And we'll see you guys next week, as always, every Thursday and every Wednesday. See you guys. Take it easy.